The theist could embrace premise 3, but reject premise 1.
That's so where I'm at on this deal, with the addition that I wholeheartedly embrace premise 5 also. Um, but wait, you say something else.
But in order to do that, they'll need to demonstrate, not just assert. Demonstrate
Okay, I think I get it. You don't want me to assert anything. Uh, you want me to demonstrate. I got it. Okay.
that it is possible for something which exists to cause something which doesn't exist to begin existing.
Well, you know what? Before I go to try to think about demonstrating something impossible like this, I just want to think about the rule you've just made for me, and I wonder if you're going to play by that same rule, because it seems like, if I remember back earlier in this video, you made some pretty bold assertions with no demonstration. Why don't we go back and take a look?
Well, we know that the Big Bang was responsible for the universe as we know it.
Well, neighbor, that was an assertion. I'd like to see you demonstrate it. Uh, and then when you say we, do you mean everybody, or I mean, are you if you got a mouse in your pocket or what? Because I certainly don't agree with you on that one.
So, in that sense, the Big Bang is what created the universe we see.
Hey, I'm not going to call this assertion number 2. I'm just going to call it 1A, since it's a continuation of your previous assertion. But I felt it worthy to go ahead and play it on here. And also to add that I like the way you used the word created. I think you're starting to get closer to the right idea.
How does something that exists cause something that doesn't exist to do anything, let alone start existing? The answer is it can't.
Okay, this sounds reasonable, but it's still an assertion. And that was your rule that you made for the theist, okay, for me or anybody else, is that we could not just assert, we had to demonstrate. Now, there's no way you're going to be able to demonstrate this. If you can, I'm going to use your words and say that is going to be some quality entertainment.
Because laws of causality only work between things that already exist. There is no such thing as a causal relationship between the existent and the non-existent.
2A, once again, could you demonstrate, please?
God is a logically incoherent concept and does not exist.
Okay, that's violation number 3 of your no assertion, demonstration only rule. At least you were smart enough, and I know you're smart, so I'm gonna give you full credit for this. You put the rule at the end of the video after you'd already violated it at least 3 times, so it was a lot better. I probably would have put it at the first of the video. And yeah, so anyway, what you're saying also, by the way, is that if an idea is logically incoherent, it can't exist, or a thing, a concept. And I think you ought to tell that to these quantum physics guys, because they're trying to come up with some theories to explain the universe. And man, you could save them a lot of time if you could tell them that, but you might want to do it anonymously, because I think they get kind of ticked off about it. Okay, now this idea of yours that if something is illogical or logically incoherent to you, it is impossible or non-existent, is what is the fuel behind your argument behind premise 1. It's also what is keeping you from seeing the truth.
Just physically impossible. It's logically incoherent for something that exists to cause something which doesn't exist to start existing.
Okay, now I don't see any reason to try to argue against a Christian uh, in this method, because we are not claiming that God created the world in a way that we could understand. We are saying that He is so far above us, not just a little bit more than a human, okay? Not just a little more powerful. We're saying that He Himself is uncomprehendable, okay? And that the things He does are uncomprehendable to us. We say that He created this everything that we can perceive from nothing. Okay? I can't understand that. I'm never going to be able to understand that, I don't think. All right? And nobody's asking anybody to understand that. Okay, I think I told you before in Isaiah, he says, your thoughts are not my thoughts, and your ways are not my ways. Okay, he's not like an old man, a person that lived a long time and got God smart. Okay, he is another being, a being that we cannot comprehend. Now, I know you don't want to probably hear this, but this is precisely why we have the Bible. Because if it were not for his revelation of himself to us through this written word, we wouldn't have a clue. We would be totally reliant on our own minds to process the information we gather through our five senses and to form a worldview based on that alone. Which kind of brings us back to something you said earlier.
Everything that makes up me existed before I ever did. Scott isn't its own thing. Scott is just the configuration in which these 7 billion atoms are assembled.
I've got something else I want to say about this, but first I want to say that your analogy to the group of cheerleaders and getting bigger and bigger and never ceasing to be cheerleaders in a group, and you being composed of trillions of atoms really doesn't work that well, because at some point the atoms that you're made out of have become an entity, which is Scott. We can't divide you back into atoms, okay? You could divide the cheerleaders up no matter how many there were, and they would be individual cheerleaders, okay? But we're not going to be able to divide you up and have a bunch of little entities. See, the cheerleaders are all entities. The atoms are not. You are an entity, see? What I really wanted to say about it, you being made up of a bunch of atoms and not being really anything more than that, is that if that's true and there's no God and you're just a talking pile of dirt and I'm just a talking pile of dirt, then what is logic? It's just something that, I mean, really, there is no logic. There is no right, no wrong, no reason to argue. I mean, we're just passing time. I mean, we're just going to end up being a pile of dirt that can't even talk, right? Eventually. So, I mean, if you're just minerals, why argue about anything? Why even say anything? Why even go on living? There's no point. Even if there is a point to living, there's sure not a point in arguing with anybody or trying to prove your idea. You know what I mean? You might as well just live and let live and forget about all the philosophy and everything, because you can't have philosophy or reason if you're just a pile of dirt. Okay, brother, here's the good news. You're not a talking pile of dirt. You're a unique creation made by a being that is more powerful than we can imagine, but more loving than we can imagine. And he has provided you with this life, and it's not just a talking pile of dirt life that's going to end in a little while. It's eternal life. You are, you know, you're like a little I am. He is the I am because he exists outside of this existence. I can't understand his existence, okay, because he made time for you and me to live in. And we're bound by that, okay? But he's not in time, and he's not limited by the things that we're limited by. You and I are going to be outside of time soon, and we'll meet this being face to face. But we have a way, he has provided a way for us to have a relationship with him even now. And although it won't be consummated until we're outside of time, it is a beautiful relationship even now. It's a whole new life. He loves us, and we have the ability to learn to love him even now. He's not the ogre or the tyrant that unbelievers make him out to be that have an agenda against him. He's a loving father, and he's waiting for you